strategies for the hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Live Live, a place where we meet up to receive motivational, inspirational, and activational strategies for those changing and challenging life moments. I am your host, Keela Bryson, and I want to welcome you to our Monday night motivational call. Yes, it's time to live live, everybody. It's time out for living dead. It's time out for being sad. There is so much going on around us to be happy about and to be thankful about and to be excited about. Well, I hope you all had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. I was able to work on my goals for 2015. And as I was going over those goals, I was very excited to find that I did accomplish a great number of goals for 2014. I even accomplished some things that I did not have down to achieve for 2014. But you know what? That is something to celebrate, and I'll take it. How about that? It's awesome to achieve something that you didn't have on your list. And so I just want to challenge you and continue to encourage you to finish the year strong. We have exactly 23 days left for 2014, and now is the time to continue to work on whatever it is that you set out to achieve and to accomplish for 2014. All right, that being said, we're going to move right along on to tonight's topic. I have yet another good topic that I feel will be beneficial, inspirational, motivational, or whatever you need, to continue to keep yourself fueled for the big finish for 2014. Tonight I want to talk about building and maintaining momentum. Having momentum is important because if we're going to achieve anything in life, we must have some momentum. Momentum is what fuels us toward achievement. And if you're going to finish strong, guess what? You need some momentum. Because a lot of people toward the end of the year tend to start fizzling out, feeling exhausted, sometimes becoming discouraged because they feel like they're not on course where they should be. But tonight, I just want to pump you up, motivate you, stir you, and recharge you to know that you can still finish strong for 2014. You just got to begin to continue to build and maintain the momentum. So what is momentum? Momentum is defined as energy, drive, force, motion, moving forward, and having vigor. Now, I love being around momentum. I love being around people who have some good positive momentum. And you know why? Because momentum is one of the ingredients of success. Therefore, it must be managed. It must be mastered. Because the moment we lose momentum, guess what? Then we end up getting off course. We end up losing ground, and ultimately we don't fulfill our dreams, our purpose, our goals. So now, we're talking about momentum, and most of us, if any of you on the call tonight have attended college and you've had, let's say, physics, then what I'm about to speak on will bring back some college memories for you. Now, I would be remiss to discuss momentum and not talk about Newton's first law of motion. Okay, who can tell me what is Newton's first law of motion? Now, I can't hear you, but, sit there and say it to me, even though, I can't hear you. I know somebody's out there going to get the answer right. Well, the first law of motion, it states that the tendency of a body in motion is to keep moving, and the tendency of a body at rest is to sit still. So in other words, it's a lot less work to keep moving once you have some momentum than it is to start moving from a dead stop. Did you hear that? It's a lot less work to keep moving if you're already moving. And it's more difficult to get moving if you're starting from a stopping place. So with that in mind, that's why it's necessary for us to build momentum and to maintain our momentum. And in order to build and maintain our momentum, we can't let it die out. We cannot let our momentum stop because the moment we do, it becomes more difficult to regain that momentum. It becomes more difficult to restart ourselves. And that's why a lot of people give up on their dreams and goals once they lose their momentum because, gosh, it's a lot of work trying to get that train going again. And so every day we've got to do something. Every day, every morning, we've got to find ourselves getting up, doing something that is causing us to move a step further towards our goal, our purpose, our assignment, and just toward living a live live life. You know, it's time out for being sad and just down, and we've got to make up our mind, hey, I'm going to get some momentum going. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to reinvent my life. I'm going to recreate my life. I'm going to redefine my life. And it starts with gaining that momentum to make those changes. You don't want to be in this same place that you are today this time next year. And you don't have to be. And this keeping and building and maintaining momentum is one of the keys to making sure we're not in the same place today when next year comes. Now, if we can keep moving on our projects and our goals every day, you know, stoking that creative fire regularly to keep the flames high. I don't know how many of you have ever had a fireplace, but if you want to keep that flame going in that fireplace, every now and then you've got to go over there and pull out your little iron and stoke that fire. And when you stoke that fire could be trying to die down. It may look like it's getting ready to burn out, but the moment you go over there and stoke the fire, guess what? The flames begin to blaze back up because you have done some stirring around in the coals and in the firewood that's on the fireplace. And just that movement alone begins to ignite those flames in a higher state. Now, if that can happen with a fireplace and some wood and some fire, then the exact same thing can happen to us with regard to us achieving the life and the dreams and the goals that we want to live. It is infinitely easier to stay focused when we're already moving and to make great strides and to blast through roadblocks when we already have the momentum. It's hard to speed a train real fast in just a few seconds. You've got to begin to, slowly get that started. Before you know it, that train is picking up speed. And that's how it is with life. If you're going to live the life that you desire, if you want to live life, then you've got to get some momentum going in your life. Let's get moving. So, how can we build and maintain momentum? Because if I don't give you the tips on how, then this entire call would be in vain. And nobody has time for that, in the words of Sweet Brown. We must be busy, we must be focused, and we must be doing what we need to do in order to achieve. God has mandated us to do business until he comes. And in order to do that business effectively, we've got to know how to do that business effectively. Many times people tell us what we need to do, but they fail to tell us how to do it. And so on all my Monday night calls and every topic that I bring before you all, I always discuss the matter. I discuss the what, the why, and then I close it out with the how. And so tonight shall be no exception. We're going to close it out now with how do I build and maintain my momentum, Keeler. I want to finish some things. There's some things that I have on my list that I want to achieve. And in order to achieve those things, I have got to stay busy. I've got to stay focused. I've got to keep an eye on the time. I've got to keep an eye on my progress. I've got to keep track of where I'm being delayed. And in order to do that, we've got to stay focused. We've got to continue to monitor and look for ways to achieve our dreams and to have success in our lives. So the first step in building and maintaining momentum is you got to know that momentum takes time to build. Yes, it does. It takes time to build momentum. So for those of you who are discouraged because you feel like you're not where you should be, well, honey, if you have just started, then you're on course because it takes time to build momentum. Most people don't want to hear that because we live in a quick, fast, and a hurry society, and as a result, people don't want to wait. But I'm telling you, there is beauty in taking your time with something that's great, something that's wonderful. You don't want to rush it, because if you rush it, it's like frying some chicken that's too fast. Have you ever had some chicken that somebody fried too fast? It looked like it was gone on the outside, but the moment you bit in the inside, it was still bleeding. So we don't want to be like that with whatever we're trying to birth out in this season, whether it's a book, whether it's we were trying to produce our own CD, whether it's starting our own business. Take your time, because all good things take time if you want to do it right. So don't be discouraged. Know that it takes time to build momentum. And one of the common mistakes that a lot of people make is that they set their goals are too lofty. Their goals are not achievable because they just went way out there, and there's nothing wrong with that, but let's be realistic when we set those goals, because it's hard to set them when from a resting state. Remember I said that it's easier to keep something going if it's already going. And so if you're trying to launch a goal, a vision, or a plan from a resting place, just know that it's going to take time to build that momentum for that. People have images in their mind of success and fame dancing in their heads, and sometimes we can set the bar so high and then we end up failing, and then we get discouraged, and then we quit. Okay, if you want to win, don't overextend yourself on your goal. Let's be realistic. It's okay to dream big. I love dreaming big, but at the same time, we must proceed with caution, knowing that if we set the bar too high, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment. Also, just think about if you're running a marathon. Now, if you're running a marathon that you've never ran before, you're not just going to go out there and start running that marathon. No, you're going to start out slow. You're going to start by running a few miles, and then you're going to build from there. Or let's say you're wanting to write a book. You're just not going to go in your room one day and say, I'm just going to write, and I'm going to write this book. Well, you may could do that. Some of you are probably gifted enough to do that. But for many of people that's out there, you may need to start out first blogging. That's right. Start your blog and write something every week or once a month or every 2 weeks. And from there, you're beginning to improve your writing skills. You're beginning to build the skill and the flow and the order of what it takes to express your thoughts and how to articulate your thoughts in a chronological order and in an order that makes sense, that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So that's how you build momentum. You start small, and then you build from there, because you don't want to jump into something and then overwhelm yourself, and then that overwhelming will cause you to get discouraged and then ultimately quit. So just remember, start out small, and then be grateful, be thankful for the incremental successes that you're going to have. Because once you begin to build that momentum, guess what? Your confidence is going to build as well. And we know that we need confidence in anything great that we're trying to achieve. The second step in gaining momentum is we must remember that we must carve out a consistent block of time to work on our projects. The key word is consistent. A lot of people fail with the consistency in whatever it is they're trying to do, especially when distractions and personal attacks invade their lives. Whatever it is that you want to do, you've got to learn the discipline of consistency in order to maintain the momentum that it takes to bring that dream or goal into manifestation. Particularly, most people are working a daytime job. Most people have families, a husband, children, or what have you. And as a result, you're having to juggle all of those things in addition to trying to fulfill your dream, your purpose, or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And if we're not careful, we're juggling those commitments, and then we're trying to juggle the commitment to ourselves with regard to our dreams and our goals. And so we devote a lot of time to many things. And let's just be honest. We devote time to our jobs, our families. We devote time to church. We devote time to friends. We must put on our calendars a set aside time on a consistent basis to work on whatever project, dream, goal, or purpose that we're desiring to achieve. Nothing is more important than that. Consistent execution is paramount. Consistent execution, not consistent planning, not consistent wishing, not consistent hoping, but consistent execution, consistent carrying it out, consistent doing it is paramount. It keeps your head clear and it keeps you focused. Yeah, we need to be focused in anything that we're going to achieve as well. You must stay focused. And being consistent rewards us with that constant feeling of progress. It's a great feeling to know that you have made some progress. And that's how I felt this past weekend when I was going over my goals for 2000 and that I had written for 2014, and I was able to see that I've made some progress. And I was excited about that. I was telling my husband, honey, I achieved a great portion of my goals, and I achieved some goals that I did not intend to achieve. Now, there were some things that I did not achieve, but I was so happy about the ones that I did and the ones that I didn't intend on achieving that the ones that I didn't achieve, it didn't really matter. I can just carry that over and hopefully accomplish those the first quarter of 2015. So consistent execution is the key because that helps you to keep moving forward. Don't be distracted by the attacks of life. Don't be discouraged about the challenges and the obstacles that you're going to encounter because that is a part of the process. Expect the attacks and the distractions, but the point that you need to remember is to keep moving forward, keep maintaining the momentum, keep building the momentum. Don't wait for this free time that we're talking about to magically appear because guess what? It's not going to magically appear. You have to make time for success. You have to make time for writing that book. You have to make time to write out that business plan. You have to set aside time. It's not going to magically appear because what will happen is if you don't make time, there's going to always be something that's going to get in the way trying to suck up your time. Even if you have to stay up an hour later, get up an hour later, or on the weekend, just stay up as much as you can to get things done. This past weekend, I didn't go to bed until 4:30 Sunday morning, but guess what? It was worth it because I was working on something. The house was quiet, everyone was asleep, and I could think. I could quiet my spirit and just hear and sit before God on direction and guidance. So try that sometime. Set aside that time because when you do, that's how you keep momentum going. The third way that you keep momentum and build momentum and maintain momentum that I want to point out is that work on your project every day. No, seriously, every day, okay? You may be saying, Keila, every day, how can anybody work on something every day? You can. It don't have to be nothing great. It doesn't have to be anything that's extensive. Just a little something every day. If it's just sitting somewhere meditating on what it is you see yourself accomplishing, or what is sitting aside some time and thinking on what you want to do next. How are you going to market that product? How are you going to get that loan or that grant for your business? Do something every day. Read something inspirational about staying motivated or building a business or writing that book or becoming an independent music artist. There's something that you can do every day. Find something because that's how you build and maintain that momentum that you need to achieve your goals. Let's say, okay, now there's this guy named Joe Figgs that I came across, and in his writing, he talked about a collection of interviews with some painters. These were famous painters that he did interviews with. And one of the things that he observed that was consistent among all these famous painters that he interviewed was that they were successful because they incessantly did something that improved their project, or they did something every day toward their project. even if it was 7 days a week. Some of them were working 7 days a week, every day, every day, every day. They were doing something with regard to their project, their art, and as a result, he realized that was one of the commonalities to their success. They were working on it every day, and when you do that every day, you begin to build momentum and you may maintain momentum. Now, it's awesome to go from this level of momentum, but when you build upon it, it increases every day. And oh my goodness, and before you know it, it gets wider. The momentum gets bigger and bigger. It gets stronger and stronger because when you do something every day, you get stronger at it, you get better at it. Like the saying say, practice makes perfect. You know, when it comes to momentum, frequency of execution is one of the most important as opposed to the duration of execution. Some people think that if they just do something for a very long time, like I'm going to go running for 3 hours today, okay? And that's good. But what this gentleman is suggesting that it's not how long you do it, it's how often you do it. Isn't that good? Because the more you do it, the more lubricated you are, so to speak, to continue to keep that momentum going. It causes you to get better at it. And you're able to just get with it real quick. You don't really have to have that warm-up session because you've been practicing and doing it every day. So don't forget that it's not the duration of execution, it's the frequency of execution that causes us to have success. And the more frequent you do something, the more quick your mind is, the more fresh and alert your mind and your thinking process is. But if you are not executing your plan or working on your project every day, you can get stale, you know, and you won't have that flow, so to speak. But when you work on something every day, oh my goodness, you can tell because that person is in their zone. They are flowing. And I'm telling you, it just didn't happen overnight. This person been flowing like every day, all day. And as a result, you can see it when they get up to do whatever it is they do. The fourth thing that we need to remember if we want to continue to build and maintain our momentum is we cannot be afraid. Now, this right here, oh my goodness, fear is one of the top reasons why people lose momentum, get discouraged, and ultimately they give up. We cannot have momentum if we let fear take over whatever it is we're trying to achieve. Now, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to envision what I'm about to describe. Now, let's say you are in the mountains, the hills somewhere, and it's snowing. You decide to go to this place to get some skiing in for the first time. You don't know what you're doing, but you decided you want to take advantage of some skiing lessons. You got your ski gear on, you're in the slopes, whatever, and you're getting ready to ski downhill. That's right, downhill. And the very vision or thought of this for many of us can be very, very scary. And because we've never done this before, we're going downhill on some snow. But yet at the same time, even though we're afraid, we are yearning for this. But we're also afraid of taking it too far. It's like, I want to do this, but at the same time, I'm kind of scared. Have you ever had that feeling before? You want to achieve this. You want to do this. But you're afraid. But yet at the same time, gosh, I'm yearning to do it. You know, and you're wondering, what if I start off too fast? What if I get out of control? You know, these are the kind of questions that come to our minds whenever we're trying to do something that's beyond our comfort zone, or we're stretching ourselves in a way that we've never been stretched before. All kind of thoughts will come to our mind to make us say, what if this happens? What if I don't say it this way? What if I don't perform? What if I mess up? What if you do it right? Did you realize that that's a possibility? It's possible that you could actually nail it. You know, we don't tend to think that way. But tonight I want to challenge you. Every time those negative thoughts come to you telling you what you can do, flip it and say, well, it's possible that I could. And we don't have just one option in life. There are a variety of possibilities of things that can happen. I mean, you could possibly do it 100% right on the first time. There's a possibility you could nail it 50% of the way. Either way, there's always a positive possibility instead of a negative notion. That's right. Remember that. Okay. So, you're on the skis. What are you going to do? Are you going to back out? You done paid all this money, invested all this time studying. You took the pay for the ticket to get there. No, you've come too far to turn around. And I want to say to many of you on the call tonight, you too have come too far to turn around. You are in the driver's seat. You are about to arrive at your destination. But you've got to keep that car moving forward. You've come a great distance. Some of you have made some great progress. And now you're almost there, and you feel like, can I really do it? You're wondering that. And yes, you can. You can do it. You just need a little bit of encouragement. You need to get your focus back. You need to continue to get your momentum going, and don't let it die down. Now, Seth Godin writes, which is another good read. He says that many of us fear too much momentum. Just like you're in the skis, right? The momentum of going down that hill is frightening. Just sliding and gliding downhill, that's an example of the momentum. That speed is momentum. And Seth is saying that many of us are afraid of too much momentum. Think about that. You are afraid that things could go well and they could go really fast. Sometimes we think we're afraid of being a failure or failing at something, when in actuality, it could be a fear that we are actually going to succeed. And we don't know how that's going to get out of control or how we're going to manage that. But Seth says that many of us fear too much momentum. We look at a project launch or a job or another commitment, he says, as something that might get out of control. Most people will stay on a job that they hate, that they know is beneath them, that they've outgrown. They know that there's a better job out there where they can make more money. But because they fear switching and getting out of their comfort zone, challenging themselves to do something better or to stretch themselves, they will stay where they are because they are afraid of too much momentum. What am I going to do about this change? Then I already got this system going. I already got my pattern laid out and my routine set. And as a result, they stay stuck in a place because they don't want to deal with matters that they feel they cannot control. And sometimes when momentum gets to going, there are certain aspects about it that you can't control. You just got to roll with it on those skis. You just got to roll with it and try to guide it as best you can. Because when momentum comes, you got to take advantage of it and figure out how to navigate that power, that force, that drive, that vigor, so that you can make it to the finish line. Let's say, okay, it's one thing, for example, to be singing at church. Most people can sing at church to a couple of hundred people. But if that momentum builds and you become a star, a big gospel star with an entourage, and you're making appearances and you're going higher and higher, and the expectation is getting higher and higher, deep down, this potential for an overwhelming response alerts the lizard brain. And you're saying, Keila, what? The lizard brain. Yes. Seth Godin talks about a concept entitled the lizard brain. And this is really good. He says that there's a part of our brain that when we're confronted with momentum situations where it seems like it's getting out of control, there's a part of our brain that will cause us to hold back. Yeah. Go figure. Now, this is really good because, hey, this is really going to prepare and help some of us to achieve our dreams, our goals, our purpose, to get some things completed, you know, this last quarter of the year and into the first quarter of next year, because we're learning how to build momentum and how to maintain it. And Seth was saying that success can begin to manifest in our lives. For example, we're going from singing at church in front of 100 people, and all of a sudden now we're singing before thousands of people. And just the momentum of that can be so overwhelming. Singing to 100 and then you jump to like, I don't know, 100,000 people. Do you realize the nervousness that person may feel or feel like they can't do it or what? I mean, all kind of thoughts are going to run through their mind. You know, and so as a result, they'll get lizard brain. And lizard brain is basically we hold back. You know, we say we can't do it. We start second guessing ourselves. And we can't do that. When God blesses us with that momentum that we worked so hard for, that we've been consistent with, we've been working on that project every day, we cannot hold back when he opens the door and rewards us with the momentum we need to reach that magnitude, that level that we've dreamed about. Don't hold back. Do not let lizard brain zap and get on top of that part of your brain that causes you to hold back, and then you feel like I can't do it, and you draw back in fear, and then guess what? You lose the momentum. And oh my goodness, we do not want to lose the momentum because we had lizard brain. Isn't that funny? Lizard brain. Go and Google that. There's a video that they show of how the lizard literally is on the brain in this cartoon depiction of lizard brain. But so I just want to encourage you guys that when it comes to creative execution, the key is to keep moving, to get moving, to keep moving. You know, we must keep building and managing and maintaining our momentum if we're going to achieve our dreams and our goals, if we're going to live life, if we're going to achieve the things that we thought were impossible. They can become a reality in our lives, but we must get that momentum going. There's a certain amount of energy, there's a certain amount of force that we need to get it going, just like a train. That train has to have power to get on down those tracks. And in order to do whatever it is you need to do, whether it's writing a book, you know, becoming an independent artist, starting your fashion line, you know, opening a business, becoming a nonprofit business, whatever it is, it takes momentum to do it. And it takes not just a little bit of momentum, it takes a force, a building, a drive, a vigor, because in order to launch something that's great as what you have in mind to do, it takes a certain amount of power, it takes a certain amount of force to do that. Well, everyone, this has been a Teachable Life moment where it is absolutely necessary and imperative that we live lives all day and every day. If you would like to connect with me, you may do so. I can be found on Facebook at Teachable Life Moments, LLC. I'm on Twitter. You can find me at Keeler Savant. That's Keeler, Savant. Or you can visit me on my website at KeelerBryson.com. If you would like to email me or inbox me, my email address is Keeler@KeelerBryson.com. Well, everybody, I want you to have a great week. I want you to finish strong, and I want you to remember to live life. And until our next call next week at the same place, same time, have a wonderful week, and don't forget to finish strong and get those dreams and goals done. There's still time to get it in, everybody. Good night.